Welcome to a quick sharp review of Bakuman, the complete manga box set. I'm going to be talking a bit about the physical release, I'm going to be talking about the story itself, and then lastly what music I'd recommend listening to when reading it. So this is the complete box set. We'll have a look at the whole thing. Great artwork on the front, nice original artwork on the side, nice original artwork on the back, which is great. On the top, just the title. It's got decent, I think it's pretty decent strength handle. And on the bottom, it's just sort of line paper like for drawing manga. Open up the box. I should say actually that you can see this is a bit warped. It's because the top started peeling off randomly. The glue just started coming away. So I sort of had to glue it back myself. I didn't do the best job, but it's fine. It's staying together. We've also got some artwork at the top here of some of the characters, which is cool. And then again some here, which is nice. So we've got all 20 volumes here of the original manga. We've also got a spin-off manga of one of the series that's here. It's only, about 10 to 15 pages, but that's worth a look at. It's also got a double-sided poster. I'm not going to show one side of it because it's a spoiler, but I'll show the inside, which looks cool. And then the last page is more for people who have finished it. So we'll just have a look. Standard manga volumes, standard size, standard paper quality. There's no coloured pages. Between each chapter there is a bit of a sort of look into how one scene in that chapter was storyboarded, and as this is a manga about making manga, that it sort of makes sense that they put that stuff in. You can see how it evolved to get to where it is, which is interesting if you're into that sort of thing. I think seeing it once or twice is pretty cool, but otherwise I wasn't super interested to read all of those. So Bakuman. If you haven't read Bakuman, it is a manga, as I said, about making manga. It's about two high school students who decide they're going to make a manga together, and one of them will write the story and one of them will do the artwork, which is similar, I guess, to how this was created, where one writer writes it and then another mangaka makes the artwork, and this is how these guys did Death Note as well, and Platinum End, which I haven't read. Heard is not great, but this is really good. I don't think it's as good as Death Note, but it's certainly interesting, especially if you don't know anything about the manga industry. When I first read this, it sort of blew my mind in terms of figuring out how these stories are published and how they and how they run. So it's sort of following their journey, and it's sort of like a non-traditional sports manga story, in the same way that like Akane Banashi is that sort of thing, or Act Age, or any of these sort of competitive things, because they're competing against other artists, they're competing against other writers in the magazine, and they've also got all of this personal drama that happens between them and their fellow manga artists and their friends and their partners. This story gets a lot of flack for the writing of its female characters. I can't really disagree with it. The main character's motivation is that he's going to write a manga that then is going to be adapted into an anime that his first love will be the voice actor for. So a lot of that is driving the main motivation of the characters. I think there are some female characters who are written okay. There's a couple of artists and writers that are girls, but some of their motivations are a bit strange in terms of how they flip, and there are some bizarre moments and some bizarre characters in this series that I don't know. I get, like, particularly this relationship is just extremely weird. Between these two characters, and there's a few other strange interpersonal relationships between characters, but I think overall it's worth reading, and certainly for when we talk about like bang for your buck of manga. Just quickly, I've just seen there's artwork on the sides there. You can see there's little bits and pieces in there. In terms of bang for your buck, this is a pretty decent cost. I think I might have paid, I don't know, 180 Australian dollars for this, maybe a little bit less, which is great for 20 volumes of manga. But in terms of the density in these volumes, it's just huge. There's so much text explaining, the ins and outs of Shonen Jump, the magazine, and how things get published and how they run, how they get adapted into anime. Very interesting stuff. And it's really fun to follow along and see all these fictional mangas being created, and you sort of think about, like that's the sort of thing that I'd like to read, and I wish that sort of existed as a real thing, because I'd totally read it and support it. So, it gets you thinking about that sort of stuff, and also just the creative process. And if you're someone who's creative and thought about any of that stuff before, it's very, very interesting to see the massive hard work ethic that these people need to even get like a small amount of success is just crazy. So yeah, well worth reading. There are times that it dips, and I think it's because sometimes it's so dense. So sometimes I had a hard time feeling like I wanted to keep reading. Having said that, that was my second time reading it, and the first time I read it, I was pretty gripped throughout the whole thing, wanting to see what happened next. But particularly towards the end, I think it really gets rolling. That sounds like I'm saying the whole series is not good till the end. It is. It's really good. But I was particularly gripped for the last 3 or 4 volumes. I read them all within a couple of days. So in terms of music to read while reading it, I put together this playlist for this type of story. I did it when I was reading a bit of Akane Banashi. It's about, it's sort of like realistic setting, manga, anime, video game, school life sort of stuff. But then there's also like motivational stuff. There's also sad moments. I think it works well. You can sort of just flick through to whatever the moment is that's happening in the story at the time. Worked for me, so probably work for you. Anyway, let me know what you think of Bakuman. Let me know what you think of the Oba Obata duo and their works. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.